Welcome to my channel. My name is Rainer and this is Rainier Books, which pretty quickly will become your favorite channel on BookTube. So please subscribe and you won't miss anything anymore. The American people have elected former TV star Donald Trump into the White House for the second time. And he and his billionaire friends and supporters are trying to fundamentally change the political landscape and the political system of the United States. And maybe the US is marching into another war in the Middle East in the forthcoming days and hours with consequences way beyond our imagination. The journalist Michael Wolff has been an observer of President Trump from the start and has now recently published his fourth book about Trump, All or Nothing: How Trump Recaptured America. Wolff started his expedition into Trump world in 2017 when he spent days, weeks and months in the White House and made many contacts with people who would give him inside information. The first book in the series came out early 2018, Fire and Fury, Inside Trump's White House. The title, Fire and Fury, is a direct quote from the president. In his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, he met journalists after North Korean leader Kim Jong-un had threatened the United States. Trump said,
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
Then Kim Jong-un and Trump became best friends. But after Fire and Fury, Michael Wolff published Siege, Trump Under Fire in 2019, and finally in July 2021, Landslide, the final days of the Trump presidency, which turned out to be not the final days of the Trump presidency, but a 4-year-long pause until the American people decided that Donald Trump would be the best alternative to lead the country into a golden age, into a golden future, which led to All or Nothing: How Trump Recaptured America. If you have followed the news beat as close as I have, you will probably know a lot about the events that Michael Wolff takes up in this book. However, his close proximity to sources inside Trump world always add details that add important or interesting facts to the whole picture. While reading All or Nothing, I couldn't stop thinking about, why am I doing this to myself? Spending so much time with this man who is a malignant narcissist, Trump, not Wolff, and a dangerous sociopath with a nuclear codes. But then I said to myself that I cannot run away and escape from these times we are all living in. You can't, I can't. And I want to understand what we all are going through and why things happen that way. It is fascinating that hundreds of thousands of people who voted for Trump last November and who belong to the working class, probably millions of people, are still convinced that a politician turned real estate billionaire and lots of billionaires in his government, plus the tech billionaires like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg and Peter Thiel, are fighting for the interests and everyday worries of low-earning Americans. But that is another book. Michael Wolff stays inside the Trump White House. What was new to me? I did not know that Donald Trump was scared that the Democratic Party would nominate Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer to be the candidate for the presidency after Joe Biden withdrew, way too late. Wolff claims that Trump was sure that he would lose against Gretchen Whitmer and that he was relieved that Kamala Harris became his opponent. Wolff also talks about another woman, Natalie Harp, a 34-year-old person who comes from a religious family in California and who has received the nickname Trump's human printer. She is loving the president devotionally. She's often accompanying him, even on the golf course, in her own cart with a printer. Natalie provides Trump with flattering articles from the internet, and she also writes a lot of his posts on Truth Social on his behalf. Of course, Michael Wolff takes up Melania and the despair of the Trump administration and the Trump election campaign to sometimes locate her and get her to appear in a few events, acting as the First Lady and the loving wife with a white hat brim that makes it impossible for the most powerful man in the world to peck her on the cheek. What I didn't know either was that Donald Trump actually was aiming for a female vice presidential candidate. Fox hosts Maria Bartiromo and Harris Faulkner were among the favorites, but Elon Musk made it pretty clear that he wanted J.D. Vance for supporting Trump as the VP candidate. If you're interested to look back at a little more than the last year, at the debate in Georgia where Joe Biden lost it all, or the assault attempt on Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, at that rally that convinced hundreds of thousands of evangelical voters that Donald Trump is protected by God himself, then All or Nothing might be a good read for you. Michael Wolff doesn't analyze the underlying reasons that have brought us to where we are in this world right now, but Michael Wolff connects the dots and delivers the events that occurred from 2016 to 2024 in his 4 books. And he also adds some spicy inside information from the Trump sphere. The White House has, of course, criticized the book and, well, neglected it more or less. Communications Director Stephen Chung called Michael Wolff, quote, a lying set of shit who routinely fabricates stories originating from his sick and warped imagination, only possible because he has a severe and debilitating case of Trump derangement syndrome that has rotted his peanut-sized brain, quote unquote. The language reveals the status of the White House and the status of America. All or Nothing won't be the last book about Donald Trump, probably not even the last one by Michael Wolff. The 72-year-old journalist has made a little fortune with his books and joins Zoom calls on YouTube from his little house in the Hamptons that he bought, I think last year nowadays. Subscribe and like. The next review is about something completely different, something very, very serious. Femicide in Mexico, and the most powerful book I've read so far this year. See you then.